Contrast uncut, yeah, you know that's us. Where we only speak the real and the real rock with us. Where we motivate the people and politic on success. Oh no, we ain't DJ Khaled, but they swearing we the best. Contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut.
What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 4. This is my spotlight episode with a super producer edition. I want to give a big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. It's your host, Zylo, aka DJ Juan Dollars, like I won some money. Today we have a really incredibly dope and legendary special guest. He's from the Bronx, New York, East 169th Street in Washington Ave, to be exact. With close to 20 years in the game, he's RIA certified multi-platinum, BadBoy, Hitmen super producer, as you see on the sweater, on the hoodie. He's a songwriter, music director, educator, motivational speaker, and CEO of Platinum Boy Music Inc. He's a producer's producer. You feel me? As an expert on the drums and his diverse and unorthodox sound that delivers from R&B to hip-hop to pop that translates to scoring TV shows and commercials. This brother is the music director and the drummer, professional drummer of Trey Songz, which has, if you've been to one of his shows, it's one of the livest shows you can witness. And, the transition to keep up with that brother is, a whole testimony within itself. He has produced in every region, from the East to the West to the South to the Midwest. This brother's worked all across, from a plethora of sounds from the likes of Foxy Soul, that struck that first iron with this brother, to Chris Brown, to Dave East, to Jennifer Lopez, to Young M.A., to 50 Cent, Keyshia Cole, Justin Bieber. I mean, I can keep on going, but I run out of breath. He created the theme song for, what I love to watch, First Take with Wale, and this brother's had so many other things put on TV. I mean, you've seen his brother on what seems like a regular now on Sway's Universe and to Hip Hop Weekly and many more podcasts and shows, including his own, The Sit Down with Amadeus, as well as you should have heard his music on your favorite video games like 2K and Madden. And if you ain't know who I got on the show by now, it's all good. We got all episode to chop it up with the brilliant mind behind Platinum Boy Music, Antoine Amadeus Thompson, everybody.
Man, that has to be, hands down, one of the greatest intros ever. And that's hard to top. That's hard to top, bruh. That's hard to top.
Normally, I'm just ready to go into what I got to go into because, but boy, that's up there because Sway is.
That's what I'm saying. That's, you boy.
Come on. Shout out.
You giving Sway a run for the money, man. You giving Sway a run. This one is woo.
Hey,
man.
I'm just a prodigy of his environment, growing up listening to him. But
yes, sir.
He rub off. The greatness rubs off. And I gotta let you know, brother, time is the most finite thing we have on this earth. I gotta tell you from right now, from the beginning, how much I appreciate your time for fucking with me, fucking with the viewers and the listeners.
I appreciate you having me, man. Like I said, I'm grateful. I'm humble. I was excited when you reached out. And it's always a blessing to be able to, have these amazing conversations with kings like yourself that have amazing platforms that gives, producers and musicians and creatives like myself the opportunity, to share my path and my journey, man. So it's always a pleasure to be able to do that. So thank you again for having me.
Come on. Absolutely, King. Speaking of time, Amadeus, what's the normal 24 hours for you, brother?
Sheesh. You want pandemic 24 or prior to and?
Come on, we both know that we got pandemic is outside the box moving. It was just a matter of when you figured out how to get outside the box and attract the wealth like normal.
Powerful. The normal 27, I get up, man, say my prayers. That's the most important thing. That's the first thing I do, being that I'm blessed to have another opportunity at life. I'm always been one to be transparent, man. I hit the bathroom ASAP. My bathroom is as my comfort zone. It's my safe haven. Is where I, get my life together, my thoughts together for the day. Definitely phone in hand, of course, whether it's going through emails, text messages that may have came, throughout the late night. The music game, the entertainment business is 24/7. So you can get a text message, an email, 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning while I'm resting, man. So I always check to see what's going on and what I need to focus on for that day. Social media, of course, plays a huge part in regards to me as a musician, as a producer, as a creative, also as a brand. So tap in, see what's going on in there, prepare my posts for the day. And for me, it's about feeling, man. I'll go prior to pandemic. Whether it's if I need to go into the studio for that day, if it's me sending out folders and folders of beats and tracks for artists working on albums, if it's sending emails, if it's creating and sending invoices, you always wake up to a new day with new things to take care of from a business level. Then you got the traveling aspect of me, whether we have a show with Trey Songz in LA, in New York, in Africa, in Dubai, somewhere, preparing for that with rehearsals, and flying out, in and out of the country, whether it's me at Dre's nightclub in Las Vegas on every weekend, which I have a residency at, performing there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, come back home Monday. So it depends on, the time, the moment, and what's going on, what's going on for me. Now during the pandemic, of course, it's been very different. It's been 10 months, if I'm not mistaken, since I touched a pair of drumsticks. And that's due to, I know, man, that's due to, the pandemic happening in the entire world, especially the entertainment business being shut down due to, COVID-19, which is taking over the entire world and planet. So it's been, quite challenging, not being able to do something that you love to do, which is what I've done in the last 19 years of life. And then from a financial, aspect is how I take care of myself and provide for myself and for my family. So it's definitely taken a toll on me, especially from a mental space. But grateful today that I'm where I'm at today, and have overcome, the challenges that can, that you deal with, man, dealing with what we're facing right now. So that's pretty much, day in the life from Amadeus, 24/7. Just to add to that, since the pandemic, I've had a lot of conversations here via IG lives. And what I felt, God put on my heart was for me to pay homage and show love to people who I consider heroes that have paved the way for me in my career musically. So, I've been blessed to have on like Redman and Dougie Fresh and Eric Sermon and Sway and Slimmer 112 and Kelly Price, you know what I mean? And Donna Lawrence and some actors and actresses, Darius McCrary, who played Eddie Winslow on Family Matters, and Malcolm Jamal Warner, who played Theo, on the Cosby Show. Again, people that really paved the way and that have been blessings to me, whether it's musically or film or entertainment. So I've been doing that for quite some time. It's been great. Definitely something new I stepped into since the pandemic. And sorry for being long-winded, but that's pretty much me 24/7, man.
No, and you put such an incredible platform, because my thing is praising personal success stories, and you're able to pay homage on such a level that shows people the real side of things. And, to combine them two and have this for this interview, I'm very deeply humbled to just be in this atmosphere, even though
Appreciate you, man.
The energy's still real right off from the voice and on.
Right, sir. Yes, sir.
I got a quote. Let me know how this quote relates to you, or if it doesn't, the idea is I want you to talk about it. Are you ready?
Okay. Ready.
Adversity builds character, and character takes you places money can't. T.I. tip.
Yeah, I agree with that, 100%. If you never go through nothing in life, how do you appreciate life? How do you appreciate where you are in life? How do you appreciate, where you stand? So I think that's a very important quote. I can relate to that in many ways, right now, with the pandemic, many days I felt like I was going to fold, you know what I mean? But with prayer, with people that surround me, that I know love me unconditionally, and in a real way and genuine way, and just knowing how God made me, man. You know what I mean? I've experienced some other challenges in life that I thought would take me out as well, and I've overcome those. And as difficult as this pandemic is that we're in, I still have my faith. You know what I mean? I still have my faith, and I'm a king. I know I'm a king, and I know God, built me to be a king. And it's all about, how I bounce back from this. So I'm definitely looking forward to, I wouldn't even say 21. I say 2020 because the year is still here. There's still days left in December for new doors to open, for new opportunities to open, for God to make different ways, and not just for myself, but for everyone. Everyone that believes, everyone that hasn't lost their faith throughout this time. So I definitely love that quote, man, and I definitely feel like it's fitting for the time that we're in, especially me personally, dealing with this pandemic.
Oh yeah, one thing that people can't, testify to is if you're not walking by faith and not by sight, then you still got a lot more of a journey to see things.
Yes, sir.
And from your vision from a youngster to now, when talking about the music industry, did the game choose you or did you choose the game?
Good question. I feel like and I'm gonna rephrase it. I'm gonna say the gift chose me, right? Because when I picked up the drumsticks, I was in 4th grade. I didn't have any want or desire to become a musician, you know what I mean, or become anything creative in music. I just loved music. So when I was absent on the day that we were to choose instruments, I wanted to learn how to play the saxophone or the trumpet. And the day that I went, those slots were taken, and the only thing left was percussion and violin. And you named where I'm from. I'm from 169th Washington Avenue, from the hood, from the Bronx. One thing I definitely wasn't going to do was pick up the violin and be walking through my hood with the violin. So I picked percussion, not even knowing what that was. And then once I entered into the classroom, I learned that percussion had everything to do with rhythm. So I definitely felt like it chose me. It became a love and a passion and a hobby. And later down the line, when I learned that it can be a career and a business, I went down that path. But for me, it was just love and passion that kept me, performing as a drummer and wanted me to pursue music production, man. So I definitely felt like it chose me. Music and the game chose me.
Passion creates purpose, and passion with genuine purpose leads to a whole different array of opportunities. It creates, plan A to plan B to plan C, but plan B and C connect to plan A. They're just, branches to the tree. And, from your journey, what would you consider your first confirmation that music and applying that percussions that you've learned to, that music is what you're supposed to do with your life? Your first affirmation, is it Foxy Brown? Is it later down the road? I don't want to personally take the words out your mouth, but, let me know.
I think it started with the passion, man. When I kept waking up on a day-to-day basis and wanting, and all I wanted to do was that, which was perform and play music. I think it was that for me that was like, okay, I don't know where this is going to take me. I don't even know what this is. I just know how it feels, and it feels amazing, and it feels like something that I want to pursue. Again, not even knowing what the future, had in store for me. And then as time went on and I walked in my passion, and I started to have dreams, and I started to learn what I can do with my music and what I can do as a musician and as a record producer. And I started seeing like Swiss Beats and, RZA, and Dr. Dre and Diddy and Hitmen, and, you know what I mean? Hearing all these producers, and I'm like, wow, like, okay, if I apply myself, if I really move full speed ahead with this, I could eventually be in their shoes or in the positions that they're in, not even really knowing the positions that they're in. All I knew was that the world knew who they were, and they appreciated them for what they did. I didn't know that money had anything to do with it. I didn't know that, they were rich and that they had these big houses and drove these big cars based off of music and music production. I just thought they were cool because they made music. So I would say that first placement, and you mentioned it, Foxy Brown, Cradle to the Grave, movie and soundtrack meant the world, because it was kind of like all of these years I've been doing this in my room, in my living room. No real studio, just, banging on the MPC 2000 Excel and my keyboards, man, and knowing I had something special, and was just had to wait for that moment for someone else to hear what I was creating and to say, hey, this is something special. And that happened to be Foxy Brown. She gave me a chance without a name, without a resume, just a young kid from the Bronx with a beat tape and a beat CD, you know what I'm saying? And she heard something special on that and created, Cradle to the Grave song, was actually the title song to the movie and soundtrack. So I think that moment was a defining moment for me, where it showed me that it was accessible, my dreams, and I was off running at that point.
You know, I do want to bring point that, you know, nothing comes overnight from a dream except for sleep. You got to put in the work for it. And, you know, it took countless time and effort to make that beat CD. Then not only, you know, not one, but 3 tracks landed with her. And then one of them landed on, you know, a motion picture that hit the theaters as a kid I enjoyed watching. And it's like, boom,
Wow.
fast forward, here I am today. But, you know, just to put the attention on that, you know, one, it's not easy to get licensing. It's not easy to land in a movie. And to hit that, that's when, you know, that's a huge affirmation. That's destiny. That's, you know what else do I got on this tree that I'm not recognizing that's appealing, because I done struck a home run, a 3-run home run off the jump.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For real. I had no idea I was going to do that because, like you said, the Cradle to the Grave was on the movie and soundtrack, but then she did a diss record, dissing female rapper Eve. And I remember being super scared, man, because I'm like, yo, she didn't make this song about Eve. It's on my beat. You know, Eve gonna think I'm responsible for this. You know, you're gonna have the whole Rough Riders, you know, searching for me and looking after me. And then I'm like, when I want an opportunity to work with Eve, I'm not even gonna be able to work with Eve based off of this record called Get Off Me. So I remember, you know, being really nervous, man. And I had a few OGs. Shout out to legendary producer Buck Wale, D-Dot, another legendary producer as well, who was like, nah, man, bro, that's just, you know, that's just the game, man. That's hip hop for you. You know what I mean? You produced the beat. Foxy said what she said. You didn't say nothing. Foxy said what she said. You know, that ain't got nothing to do with you, man. That ain't your beef. So once I learned that, I was able to be excited and appreciate that situation. And I never forget Funkmaster Flex dropping bombs, you know, when he debuted that Get Off Me record. You know, he's going crazy. You know, this is new Foxy Brown, you know, Foxy Brown, he's going crazy at Eve. And I'm sitting there listening to it. Wow, like, yo, I used to, not used to, but listen to Funkmaster Flex every day on the radio, man. And now a joint that I made in my living room is on the radio with Funkmaster Flex dropping bombs to it with one of the hottest female rappers in the game, Foxy Brown. So crazy, man. That story never gets old, man. And I never get jaded by thinking about those memories. And like you said, affirmations and things that come in, you know, that came into existence for me.
Oh yeah, you gotta love fruition. It's a beautiful thing to see. Fruits of your labor, hit play, and then enjoy.
Yes, sir.
I want to bring attention to something else. In order for the dream to happen, I feel it's always somebody that invests in idea or puts someone in a position to reach their dreams. Who do we owe to thank you for investing into your dreams?
Great question, bro. It's a few people, man. You know, off the rip, you know, I wouldn't be able to do nothing or have done anything, you know, without God blessing me with this gift, man. So I owe everything and my gift and my talents to God who's blessed me with it. After that, of course, my parents. You know, I wanted to go to public school, regular school, we called it regular school, man, so I can dress regular and have my kicks on and sneakers like everybody else. But, you know, my parents saw different. They sent us to Catholic school. I hated it. I had to dress up. I had to carry myself a certain kind of way. But with me doing that, I was able to learn an instrument, which is drums, man. And that instrument changed my life, you know, so definitely much love to my parents. Of course, you know, my pastor, and bishop, who unfortunately passed away this year. You know, so rest in peace, Pastor Michelle White. And much love to my Cathedral of Greater Faith church family. And I bring her up because I remember being, you know, I don't even think I was a teenager yet. But I went to church and her son, my big brother, Steve Suit White, was playing drums. And I heard someone who looked like me, you know, playing drums at an amazing skill level. Because, you know, growing up in school, they're showing you all of the jazz drummers, man, and they were incredible, but they didn't look like me. You know what I mean? So for me to see someone who was a Black king playing drums in a church, I'm like, wow, like this is what I can sound like, you know, if I apply myself and if I practice. And that was a defining moment. So why I bring her up is I joined her church, and I remember, you know, knocking on her office door, wanting to ask her, could I be a musician at her church? And at the time, you know, like I said, her son was already playing drums. So the only thing left was percussion. And percussion, when you think of percussion, is drums, it's congas, it's bongos, it's cowbell, it's anything rhythmic, right? So she's like, well, my son is on drums, you know, but I can put you on percussion. I can put you on the bongos and you can kind of, you know, add color to the music, through that instrument. And I accepted, and the rest was history. And at a later point, she moved him and elevated him to the piano and the organ, and then elevated me to the actual drum set. So for me, it was that moment and me playing in church, which really developed me as a true musician and as a dope producer, because that's where all of the sauce and the swag came from and how it was developed, man. So I definitely owe much love and accolades to her and my church family. Of course, some family and friends, and most importantly to me, those artists that, like I said, gave me a chance, gave me an opportunity before I was Amadeus, this, multi-platinum record producer without any resume, without any names, so Foxy Brown was first. I forget the exact order, but Little Mo was one of the, first artists to give me an opportunity. Shout out to Cameron and Dipset. Mike Jones, was first to give me an opportunity. So those artists were definitely a few of the artists that I worked with in the beginning of my career that set me on my way. And then everything else kind of came, after that, 50 Cent, Fab, and Remy Ma, Papoose, and, Jeezy and T.I. and all of that. So shout out to every artist that, I had the opportunity to work with, man, because they saw something special in me and gave me an opportunity and a chance. So I'm grateful.
Oh yeah, no. As you bring up those names, you bring up so many people. It takes a village, and something else to understand is that there's a common denominator of relationships. I wouldn't be who I am without, some of the things that happened I can't control. My father passed away when I was young, so that I had to sort of learn how to grow up with the streets, and then coaches and different people taking me to the side, and cholos putting me on the cab saying, "What are you doing out this late?" type of ordeal, so that I would grow, and then I would have relationships with these people. I would chop it up with them. I learned the game. I learned how stuff moves. And, from there to the music, to the TV world, to movies, I've been able to just really just adapt and grow and learn. I was a kid actor, and, I was able to just understand that relationships will get you places that nothing else can get you in. If you have a name, you have something that where not only the name, but you have the talent to go along with it, and you're not afraid of what you got, your gift, because a lot of people are afraid of success. And
right.
So I want you to tell the listeners and everyone what relationships mean to you, and how it positioned you to keep on moving up the ladder, versus understanding if you burn a bridge, that relationship sort of sever ties. And sometimes relationships are valuable, but you do have $5 friends that'll leave.
Right, that's real. I think relationships are the key, man. Besides the talent, but besides you believing in yourself, I feel like relationships are very important. If you look at my career and my resume, you've noticed that I work with artists, it's ongoing. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, there's one record with Fab. It's like, nah, me and Fab got 5 or 6 records. Me and Chris, probably got about 25, 30 records. Me and Keyshia Cole got about 4, and that's Papoose. We got about 5. So what I'm showing you is that it ain't just about a one-off, or me doing this record and you going your way and me going my way. I'm big on creating and developing a relationship and maintaining it. You know what I mean? And I'm some is real and authentic, and sometimes, it don't be that way. You know what I mean? But all you can do is be yourself. And that's one thing that I've always done, and I will always continue to do, is be me, be the real me. And, if people appreciate it, they appreciate it. If they don't, they don't. But I feel like relationships are key. And sometimes it's the relationship even more than the talent that'll allow you opportunities. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're going to call their homeboy before they'll call the person that's maybe most talented. But the fact that homeboy checks in on them, see how they doing, see how their family is doing, show up to the kid's birthday party, wish them a Merry Christmas, say Happy Thanksgiving, those things will possibly stand out more than someone just being talented and not really interacting. So I'm really big on, relationships. Like I said, building them and maintaining them, because I feel like sometimes those are what gets you those callbacks and those new opportunities that keep, developing.
Absolutely. From 19 years in the game, you've been able to see the transitions in sound and making music, from, as you've learned, from percussions to being an understudy to being the drummer to growing into from the MPC to now, we have Pro Tools, still being used with Fruity Loops and Reason. and you have, you know, all these different wonderful pay for royalty free sounds. And, you know, I'm not going to shout them out, but at the end of the day, there's a whole bunch of adaptation that's going on within your sound, because you continue to transition, you continue to be relevant, and you continue to keep pressing play on music. And a lot of people strive for that greatness. And I wanted to make sure we spend time on the importance of perfecting your craft, putting in the hour after hour after hour to make sure you see the gifts of yours in full display. And that, you know, is passion and your work ethic. That's self-respect. That's 10,000 hours put in. That's an outlier. Can you give the listeners an insight to the path you took to achieve your own personal success?
Man, you hit it right on the head. You said so many great things. You know, when I think back to at the beginning of my career, you know, 19 years ago, that was all I did. And it was like, I loved it so much. I pretty much removed myself from the world in order for me to work towards perfection in regards to music production and being a musician. I lost girlfriends, you know, lost friends because I didn't want to do nothing else but that. You know what I mean? I just wanted to make beats, create a real catalog of greatness. And the only way to do that is to work. Like you said, it's the hustle, is to put those 10,000 hours in. And I definitely was no slouch to that, to the point where my mom would come in the room like, do you know how much the light and electricity bill is this month? You know what I mean? You know, with you working on that music all day and all night, you know, you're gonna have to give me something. And then, you know, and that was a blessing to be able to do that. So I'm grateful for having that gig at church where I was able to be a blessing to my family and, you know, earn some money and be like, here, Mom, I didn't have a problem, being a blessing towards our home. You know what I mean? I'm definitely the one running up the light bill and the electricity bill. So, you know, I didn't have no problem, you know, whatsoever. But that's what it takes, man. And it's so much bigger. And I keep saying this, right? But it's so much bigger than talent. Like, talent plays an important part, of course. But when you think about music today, does it really? You know what I'm saying? You know, there's no comparison to a lot of the artists that are out today versus, you know, who we grew up on. You know, the biggies, the Pops, rest in peace. You know, the Nas, the Hove, the Snoops. You know what I'm saying? Like, Eminem. Like, you know, even prior to that, Naughty by Nature. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang. Like, you know, and we name a lot of the artists today, which I won't. You know what I mean? Because I still work with a lot of them, but it's like it ain't coming from that same cloth, you know, which those artists came from, man. So it just shows you, is it really about the talent? And it's not. You know, it's talent. It's like, as I mentioned, relationships, which is very important. And then I think most importantly is your work ethic. It's about how hard are you willing to work? You know, you can, and it's like, I put it like this. There's drummers that can play circles around me. There's producers that can produce circles around me, right? But the real question of the day is, but will you outwork me? You know what I'm saying? Will you out hustle me? Will you know what I'm saying? When it comes to getting these placements, will you beat me on getting these placements? You know what I'm saying? You know, will you out email me? Like, will you out research me when it comes to who's working on what? And not just based off of the artists that are known and that are here in the States. There's artists that you don't even know about, that I know about, that's overseas with big budgets, big deals, you know, and selling billions of records that you have no idea because you're chasing the same famous artist that's within the United States. You know what I'm saying? So that's the question. Will you outwork me, man? So work ethic is very important. I feel it separates me from a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues, a lot of producers that do what I do. You know, it's that work ethic.
Oh yeah, and something else to put attention to for producers and everyone trying to up and come. The other elements are vibes and timing. If your vibe's not right, you know, and your timing's not there, you could have had the hottest song with the hottest beat. But you know what? You know, that's why This Is Why It Hot came out 4 years later.
It's true. That's true.
You know, that's a gem within a gem if you understand history and music. And sometimes you just have to, you know, keep on pushing to understand your value, understand that your work ethic, you know, sometimes that may not be a hit, but there's
right.
in that sauce where if you keep on saying, hey, but that bass I did like that, and I put that reverb on there, and I did a little bit of this on there, and that my bass sounds way different than everybody else's. You could keep on growing with that. And, you know, a lot of people get lost in the fact that they got caught up in one part of it. And it's like, sometimes you just have to slow yourself down. And
I agree.
As we're talking about slowing down, I want to bring to the attention And, you know, I want to know, I saw a kid in the background, excuse my language. What's one thing people got fucked up about being a tour drummer and a music director? Because, I mean, those hand in hand for you when you out there.
I don't think people realize the work that it takes. You know what I mean? You know, when the fan comes to a show, you know, you pay for your ticket, you get all dressed up, you get all fly, ladies get their hair, nails done, everything did. You know, I don't think people realize the amount of work that goes into putting on a show. You know, we're on stage, depending on the show, for an hour and a half, some places 2 hours, 45 minutes, right? But you want to put together an amazing experience, right, for that concert goer who spent their hard-earned money to buy a ticket, to get dressed up, to get fly and flashy, to come out to see you. So you want to make sure that you're giving them the best experience you can, which is why we call ourselves the Trey Songz experience, because when you come to a show, you're not going to leave the same. You're not going to be like, damn, he just stood there and sung the song. He ain't move, he ain't vibe. Damn, the band was whack. You know, they ain't give us no energy. It's energy from the start to the finish. You know what I'm saying? And even when it's finished, we still got some, you know, to do an encore or to keep it going. You know what I mean? If it's lit like that. So I think people underestimate the time and energy that's put into that. And, you know, I can also mention the travel. You know, when you're on a tour for a month and a half and you're doing, you know, 45 shows, 40 shows, 50 shows, and you're on that tour bus traveling every day to the next city, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body, man. You know, you're not really resting fully. You know, think about it when you're sleeping in a car. You know, you're in your car, you know, your mom is driving, your lady is driving, you know, your family member's driving, and you got the passenger seat laid back, you know, all the way to the back, and you're trying to get an hour rest. Let me know how that rest is. Like, do you feel like it's the most comfortable rest? It's like, nah, you know, the driver's braking, that, you know, they might have to get out of the way, they might stop short. You know what I mean? You can feel the wind, you can hear the wind, you can hear the car moving fast, the radio is playing. All of those things is happening when you're on a tour bus. And when you're on a tour bus, you're on a tour bus with a lot of people sometimes. And everybody don't go to sleep at the same time. Everybody don't eat at the same time. You know, people got families, so they got to be on the phone with their wives and kids. And a lot goes on that people don't understand, man. But again, when you love something, man, you know, those are the sacrifices that you're willing to make. And you make those sacrifices with a smile on your face, man, because you're grateful, you know, to have that opportunity to be in the position that you're in. And I would have, you know, I've dreamt of playing Madison Square Garden. I dreamt of playing Staples Center. I dreamt of flying to Africa and you know, going to these places, man. So for those dreams to come true based off of me playing drums and for Trey Songz, you know, ain't no complaints over here, man, when it comes to that. You know, I'm grateful. And if I do complain, the people won't hear it. You know what I mean?
Come on. They only need to hear the highlights. They don't need to understand the rest of the work.
Right, exactly.
But that's the reason why we talk about it, because they got it fucked up, because it takes a ton it's a ton of travel, and it's uncomfortable, you know, realities for everybody. But the greatest reward is being out there and seeing the fans, seeing the show. It is a 100% experience. I mean, you want to give every bit of inch of your energy when you in the crowd, because you hope that you can get an encore. You hope that, you know what, them band members don't want to leave, or Trey is calling them back after he had them leave, like, because it's that much of an experience. And, you know, you buy into the festivities. It's not the price. It's all about the experience. And
yes, sir,
deliver on that. And I want to make sure I do give you your flowers for being a dedicated father. You know, a lot of people,
my brother.
You take this journey, you take this vow to not only live your purpose, but travel the dream and live the dream. There's a whole bunch of responsibility, accountability that has to be done. And being a father is something that you know, I gotta make sure I give you your flowers for. You know, dedicated dad, salute.
Thank you, man. And you know, it's my reason and my why now. You know, when I first started, of course, 19 years ago, I was a youngin', man. I was a teenager. You know what I mean? So it's all fun. It's all because, you know, you love to do it, and it's just, you know, living in the moment, man. But as you get older, you know, and you mentioned earlier, you have, you know, responsibilities, and you have, you know, little ones that you're responsible for, man. It just takes it to a whole nother level. And like I said, they're my reason, they're my why, you know, that I stay focused, that I keep pushing, that I keep hustling. You know, I want to give them the best life, you know, I could possibly give them. My family, you know, they deserve that. You know, when I've been brought up as best as possible, you know. You know, I didn't have the finer things of life, because instead of it being on my body with, you know, with clothes and sneakers, you know, my parents thought that it was more important to put that into my education. And I didn't understand it then, you know, but I understand it now. And I'm grateful, because if they didn't make the decisions that they made back then, especially when it came to my schools and where I went to school at, and even forcing me to go to church, you know, would an Amadeus exist? You know, I don't even want to even ponder those thoughts, man. But it's reality when you think about it, man. So I'm forever grateful. You know what I mean? So, you know, and as a father, and not everybody think the way I think, but I do. You know, those things that I missed out on as a kid, those things that I didn't have, those things I didn't experience, and not so much a materialistic, you know, things, but more so of, you know, the way affection is shared. You know, my father's a man's man, very manly, you know, very aggressive, it wasn't a lot of hugging, wasn't no I love yous, wasn't no hugging and kissing, you know what I mean? None of that. So for me to have a son who's named after me as a junior, you know, I wanted to be the opposite of that, you know? So, you know, I kiss my son, I hug my son, I tell my son I love him every time and every chance I get, because I know what it's like to not have that. And not that I felt like it was missing, because you don't know what you're missing if you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a kid. But when you grow older and you think about things and you see other families or you see other situations and you see love and affection, you know, from fathers to sons, it's like, oh, okay, that's what that's supposed to look like. You know what I mean? So I'm the opposite of that. You know, I don't carry on the same in regards to the way I was taught, the way I was raised. You know, you break the trend. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I love my kids, man. I have a son, I have a daughter, you know, 15-year-old son, 7-year-old daughter who's about to be 8 in a few weeks. And it's a blessing, man. You know, they're so innocent. They exemplify unconditional love. And they love you through it all. You know what I mean? You know, they can care less about it. Amadeus, you know what I'm saying? Like dad, like daddy, you know what I mean? They're worried about my well-being, me as a person, you know, are you okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like they love all of the musical accolades. They love all of that. They're proud of me, and it's a great feeling, but they love me for me. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, nothing and no one, you know, can come in between that love, you know, that I have, you know, for them and with them.
Oh yeah. Personally, I have a 6-year-old son and I have a 4-year-old daughter. Her birthday was yesterday.
Wow. Happy belated to the young princess, man.
Thank you. And she is definitely a princess. She won't let
Yes, sir.
otherwise.
I love it.
Speaking of, you know, that one other element that we haven't talked about and we sort of touched is rewarding moments. And my children are one of my greatest blessing, and my most rewarding moments I can have is with them, because not only can they break your pocket, but they can make you laugh, cry, and you know, really show you the greater things in life. But I definitely want to ask you, what has been your most rewarding moment in the industry or in life so far for you?
I think I agree with you, man. You know, in regards to having kids and having children is an amazing thing. It's a lifelong gift. You know what I mean? That God blesses us with. And I know, you know, it's a lot of responsibilities. You know, like you said, they hit the pockets. But you know, it's that those emotions that you feel over your kids and how they make you feel is something special. You know, my daughter can tell when I'm not right. You know, she can tell when I'm not okay. She can sense it. She can feel it. And she has a sensitive spot that knows how to figure out or find out what's going on. You know what I mean? And even if I don't share what's going on, because she's 7, you don't want to put too much on them. You know what I mean? She'll make it better. You know what I mean? And that's a gift that I know God has given her, because she's shown that not just with me, you know, and my queen, but like, and her mom, like, but just with anybody, her friends, her classmates, you know what I mean? So it's a blessing. Same thing with my son, you know, that I remember stuff he's shared with me and told me as a youngin', and it's like blew my mind. Like, what? Like, how do you even think of this way? Like, I even share this, like with Christmas, both of them, like, you know, she has been tough, man. I haven't been able to work in 10 months, you know, and Christmases was always big for me. You know, I you know, that's one thing. My parents made sure Christmas was big for us growing up. And for me, you know, I made it the same way, where Christmas is epic, you know, and for the first time, Christmas is different for me, man. You know what I mean? It ain't, you know, I haven't worked in 10 months. So obviously the finances, it's from a different space. But they both like just kind of gave me that energy, like whatever we get, if we get, we're cool. You know what I mean? Like it's always been major, it's always been big, it's always been epic, you know, and we're grateful. You know what I'm saying? So when you raise your kids the right way, man, and not to just allow it to be about materialistic things and getting, you know, they know how to turn around and show you that it's not just about that, but it's about you and your well-being. You know what I mean? So definitely my kids. And just to be able to do what I love to do, man. There's so many moments that I've been blessed to experience in life from a production standpoint, you know, to a musicianship. Like I said, me performing at Madison Square Garden, that's the Mecca of New York, you know, which is big to me growing up in the Bronx. And we performed there like 5 or 6 times, man, you know, to perform at MetLife, which is, you know, the arena, the stadium that the New York Giants play in. It would be being a New York Giants fan in front of 60,000 people performing at Summer Jam, which we did about 4 or 5 times. Is epic, you know, for me to play and perform in the motherland a few times, been to Africa about 6, 7 times. Crazy. Australia, you know, and Naughty by Nature, one of my favorite hip hop groups of all time. You know, I grew up, I had a cassette tape. You know, I went and bought a cassette tape when I was a kid, to performing on the same stage with them, you know, in Australia in front of 80,000 people. Like, crazy. To now, like, you know, Tretch is my uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like Uncle Vinny, Uncle Tretch, Uncle KG, like crazy, man. And just from the production side, you know, First Take, like huge, man. You know, that's huge. And I think it really hit me when I was in Australia and, you know, down bottom. And I sleep with the TV on when I'm on tour. That's like my roommate. You know what I mean? And I remember waking up to First Take, the show, because I had ESPN on, and woke up to my theme song in Australia. And I'm like, what is this doing on down here? You know what I mean? And that was a defining moment, especially when I traveled, of like, yo, music is really everywhere. Music is worldwide. Like all regions, all genres, all walks of life, nationalities, languages, like they'll sing your song in their language. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's one of the most epic things to see, man. So I'm just grateful all across the board for my personal life, my family, you know, my kids, and, you know, from a professional level, of course, everything that I've done on a production level and, you know, and touring as a musician.
You know, speaking of you know, producing moments, and I gotta speak about my 3 favorite songs you produced, and it's a segue because I want to know your 3 favorite songs you produced, and I know it's like picking kids, but I'm gonna let you know my 3 favorite. You know, it's such an array of different things, and you know, I'm like, but the diversity is there, so I'm gonna speak on it. And man, Petty Wap,
Wow.
you know, that thing caught me off guard and it caught me like, ooh, that came back with it. That came back with it. Shout out Young M.A.
Yes, sir.
Number 2, I do got to give love to Cradle to the Grave. That was a smash hit. And, you know, come on, if you know, all the kids that's 15 and 19, you ain't seen that, you sleeping and you going to get woken up the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right now, I think it's on Netflix or something. I ain't trying to, you know, do too much, but there you go. And then, you know, a hard 3 is a tie because I love Perfect, Davies, and Chris Brown. I love that one. And I also love On the Hood. You know,
wow.
Featuring 42 Doug and Mozzie. That sound, he went everywhere with it. And it's just like, okay. Atlanta, Chicago, Sacramento, let's go.
Right.
And you know, that's where I'm at with it. Let me hear your 3 favorite songs that you produced so far.
Sheesh. Wow. I'll go with Credit to the Grave. You know, that's what set it off for me. That was what introduced me to the world as a music producer. So I'll go with that. Man. Wow. I would say First Take theme song. That's just legendary, man. Like I think that's one of, you know, it's hard to say, but one of my biggest accomplishments right there as a producer. I'll say that. Whew. Wow, bro. Damn. So many. I might go with it's 2. I'll give you 2. Give me 2. Let me give you 2. It's a record I did for Marcus Houston called Excited. It dropped on the album, but it was on like the deluxe version or something like that, and I think it was only exclusively sold at Target. But hands down, one of my favorite tracks. And it's not on it's not on like like Spotify or them like that. He never uploaded that album on there. It's on the Veteran album, right? But you can listen to it, and I know you would actually do it. That's why I'm mentioning it. You can listen to it on YouTube. It's Marcus Houston Excited. One of the dopest tracks I've ever made. Just really different and unique for me. So I'll say that one. Oh man. Sheesh. I'll go with Same Girl. Zylo, Same Girl, me being from the Bronx. Big record, big moment for me, man, being from the Bronx, living like maybe about 30 minutes from where she grew up. She grew up in Castle Hill, me on Washington Avenue. It's about a 30-minute drive, but I'd say Same Girl with Zylo, man. That was a big moment. Yeah, that was a big moment. And that was very difficult to do, by the way. The producing for over 100 artists. I probably got about 200, 300 songs, man. Like, so it's hard to even narrow down. I know I'm missing some, and if I probably reminded myself of this record or that record, I'm like, yo, how come you didn't pick that? But it's hard to do, man. So it's cool to hear when you mention your top three. It's cool to hear what your top three are. You know what I mean? With you not being biased. You know what I mean?
I like one instinct, but people got to understand when it comes to creativity, it's like moving pillars. You got to find a way to like, man, am I going to make this move? Because if I go all in to move this, I'm moving it. And, that's the whole point of why I do it, because it makes you really appreciate, but it also gives you what's on the front of your mind.
Right. Right.
I think, you would be super successful in anything you touch, brother. You have that drive, that energy, that triple threat ability of research. It's like a Rolodex when it comes to research, providing the sound and then providing the actual production, not just, a beat maker. And, I would think you would be successful in anything you touch. If you weren't in music, I think you'd be a movie producer, in my opinion. But what would you be doing if you weren't in music?
Shoot. It's funny, man. It's a hard question to answer, because it's like I'm so locked into it, and it's like, damn, what would I do? You know what I mean? If I wasn't doing music, I don't. I really couldn't answer that. If I had to, give some kind of idea, I love inspiring people. I love, being a blessing. So I don't know if that has been brought on by me being a music producer and a musician, and kind of having that, getting that notoriety and the love and the accolades, and kind of wanting to turn it back around and give, you know what I'm saying, and give it out. So I don't know if it's just solely based on that. But I don't know, man. Something to do with people. I don't know if it's from an educational standpoint, because I kind of love educating as well now, but from a musical lens. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's from a spiritual thing, having to do something with a church, or like people always say, you're like a pastor, man. You give me like a pastor vibe, so
I feel it.
I don't know, man. And I think, the pluses of why it's so difficult for me to answer that for those that are tuned in is for, like, I had a plan A, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like no B, C, D, if this don't work, it was none of that, bro. It was like, it's going to be music, and I'm going to be a music producer, and I'm going to be a musician, and I'm going to do it. That's it. You know what I mean? So when you talk about falling back on, or what would you do? I don't know, because I believed in myself 100%. I believed in what God gave me, and I knew what it took to get there, and I was willing to work my ass off to get there. You know what I mean? And that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a God-fearing man, a man that is grateful for his gifts and talents, and that was given a baby, which was my musicianship and my creativity from God, and I nurtured that baby, and I molded it, and I shaped it, and I prepared it, and I taught it. You know what I mean? I loved it, and here's that baby as an adult, as Amadeus. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, nah, I love it. A lot of people don't understand. You got to grow into who you are, and then you got to love who you are, and understand that You see people make it to become a doctor. They don't realize they did that residency for a few years for free before they got there. They did 12 years of experience, where it takes, you know, some producers before they get their first hit, before they get their first placement, not even a hit, their first placement.
Right.
A couple of years. You know, you just got to keep on going down that path. And
yes, sir.
My brother King, you literally wear 5 to 7 different hats. And, you know, the different business endeavors and everything you do, I get a sense of ownership is in your blood. What's your favorite hat to wear, and speak on the importance of ownership?
Good question, man. It's kind of a toss up between, you know, musician and producer. You know, it's kind of hard to choose, you know, which one, because you can kind of be jaded by the results, if that makes sense. Where it's like, I started off as a drummer first, you know what I mean? Started playing drums. I'm playing drums in the church, and then I had the opportunity to tour the world, and then, you know, the accolades and stuff that comes along with that, right? But then you're like, this is still the same love and passion that you had when you first started, right? And then it's the production, where it's like, it's ongoing love and appreciation for it, because you're always creating new music and new masterpieces. So it's always allowing room to be celebrated for new creations. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a difficult question to ask, because it's like, you know, I ask myself, like, what are you basing this on? Like, are you basing this on accolades? Or are you basing this on pure, genuine love for what it is? You know what I'm saying? So, and it's hard to, and then when you think of it that way, and I'm really like challenging myself with that question, it's hard to really choose one, you know? So I would definitely say both, you know, musicianship and production music, you know, it's both creating music, man. It's both creating music. It's two different things, two different worlds. You know, but I love them both. You know what I mean? I love them both. And it'd be hard to choose one over the other, because it's like, what do you know, like I said, what are you basing it off of? Like, what am I basing this off of? Like, if it's a straight raw playing drums without people, without no accolades, without touring, without just drums, do you really love that? Or is it just, you know, is it all of the bells and whistles help you choose that particular profession? You know what I mean? So it's tough, man. So I choose both. And, you know, I feel like ownership is very important, man. You know, it's like, I feel like God has blessed each and every single one of us with gifts and talents, right? In our own right. You know, you do things that I don't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this amazing conversation that you have, your questions, the way you're asking them, how you've done the research, like it's a gift in that. You know what I mean? And this is what you do, right? So I just feel like we're supposed to be doing what we love to do. Simple. Like, not getting up and living a life based off of what your parents thought you should be or do, not based off of you settling for something, or doing something because you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's most beneficial to you in your life down the line. It's like, what do you love to do? You know what I mean? And once you answer that question, to me, I feel like that's what you're meant to do here on earth. Like, that's what your life should be about. It should be you doing what you love to do, because when you do what you love to do, you're most happy. You're in the right space. Like, the vibes is amazing. It's positive. It's filled with love, because you're doing what you love to do, versus you're doing something that someone forced you to do. So that's why you're going to work every day pissed. That's why you're showing up late. That's why you can't wait till 5 o'clock hits and you can go racing out the door, because that's not what you love to do. But when you love it, it ain't no, what time am I done? It ain't no, oh man, I gotta hurry up and get there. It's like, yo, I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm focused. So to me, you know, I tie that in with ownership and just passionate about you doing what you love to do, and not having to answer to anyone or anything unless you choose to. You know what I mean? And be your own boss.
Yes. Amadeus, how we doing on time, brother? I got 2 segments, but if you short on time, we could wrap it up. I just want to ask, because I could get going away sometimes.
Nah, hit your 2 segments.
Okay, I bet. I'm going to take a pause on the entertainment questions. I'm going to dig into something that, you know, I like to ask every guest. And, you know, it's a raw emotion, but it's my awareness segment. And, you know, I'm talking about when red and blue lights hit, that blurp sound, the high beam hits the back of your neck. And the next thing you know, we're getting pulled over. I like to ask every guest of mine when's the last time they're pulled over, so that we can get, what you do in the situation that's right to get out the situation. And two, to promote, the awareness of what you're supposed to do, because a lot of people don't know what to do after they get in that car.
Right. I think this is a great conversation. Thankfully, it's been a while. I'm not. I don't. Thank God. I try my best to follow the law in regards to not doing those things that would allow you to be pulled over. I think the last time I got pulled over, maybe about 2 summers ago, if I'm not mistaken. 2 or 3 summers ago, I was driving across one of the bridges here in New York, and there was a police car or a state trooper. I think it was a state trooper, kind of pulled over, just kind of camped out. And I don't have any tints on my vehicles. I don't like to tint my vehicles because I just feel like that adds to the situation where a police officer would love to pull over a black king driving a decent vehicle, with black tints to harass him to figure out what's going on because they can't see. So it's like, for me, I was the opposite. I'm like, see me, like see me clearly, see what I'm driving, show me love, man. So I think I didn't have my seatbelt on. And again, with me not having any tints on, he white BMW drive by, 750, like, you gonna look, you know what I'm saying? So he looked, saw it, pulled me over. And the first thing I did, got my wallet out, put it out, roll all my windows down, and I put my, I had put my arm outside of the window. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was like, kind of like hanging. You know what I mean? So you can see my hand out. You can like a windows rolled down. It ain't no tint, so it's not like you got to really force yourself to see me. You can see me because I'm fishbowling. Pulled up, license, registration. The question I always ask, even if I know what I was doing, and in that moment I didn't know, but why? Officer, what did I do? What did I do wrong? This is my normal question. Did I do anything wrong? What happened? Why you pulling me over? And I think he was like, yeah, you weren't wearing your seatbelt. And, I didn't argue it. I was like, cool, got me, just coming from the crib, rushing, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, all right, I'll be right back. You got any warrants or anything? I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Comes back, hands me the ticket. Take the ticket, no attitude, no extraness. Put my wallet away, phone away, everything cool. And have a nice day. You know what I'm saying? And pulled over. So that was the last time I got pulled over. I'm not argumentative when it comes to that. If you're wrong, you're wrong. There's been moments where I didn't do whatever they said I'd do, and then I would, put forth a decent argument respectfully, so that it doesn't turn into anything else. But at the end of the day, they have the higher power, they have the upper hand, man. And it's like you can go back and forth all day. Once that ticket is written, it's written, and if you want to go, through with it, and if you want to fight it, all you can do is fight it in court. But right then and there, it just defeats the purpose, man. So that's definitely was my last interaction, with the police officer or getting pulled over.
I got this statement from a motivational speaker, Cedric Crawford, and he said, and it weighed on me where it stuck with me. As a motivational speaker, I've done it myself. The biggest thing you got to do is make sure you say things that stick with you, so when the listener leaves, it's with them. And knowledge is power, but when you use that knowledge, it becomes your superpower. And the biggest time you could have a superpower is dealing with the police. And the best thing you can do is know what's going on, know what you're supposed to do, and how to get out the situation and go as quickly about it. Sometimes when they are in the wrong, you can put up a little fight, but if you ain't trying to have nothing extra, you take my ticket, I'll see you in court. And
right.
Other times it don't play that way, because my family, we're all culture, so we get judged all type of ways. And the best thing you can do is just keep a smile on your face, as hard as it may be. Don't laugh, because if you laugh, they think you laughing at them, and then next thing you know, you do something extra. But smile,
right.
Stay calm, and then move through, and you will get through. And I just always feel it's so important. Knowledge is power, awareness is everything.
I agree, my brother. I love the way you put that.
Yes, sir. No, it's a collective. It's a collective as we all grow. I have my next segment. It's called Impulse Q&A. And, just like how the show goes and flows, I'm like, I got to have my second segment, keep that same energy, but just on a different vibe, because we went deep on this end, and we're going to go some fun on this end. And
okay.
Like Impulse Q&A, you don't like the question, it's all good. I hit you with another one. And here we go. You got to answer 3 questions. Are you ready?
Okay, ready.
Question number 1. What is the funniest thing you've seen happen in the studio?
Funniest thing happened in the studio. Can't really say I have an answer for that one. Funniest thing. Yeah, I can't really say I have an answer for that, man.
We could pass.
All right, I'll pass on that one.
Question number 1. From all the places you've traveled, because you've damn near touched all 7 seas, what's a place that you recommend everyone has to try at least go?
Australia. Australia. I love Australia. It's beautiful.
They got. I said, what part? Because I heard they got some animals. They got insects we don't normally fuck with.
Right. Oh, so I've been able to visit Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide. I'm missing 2. I'm going blank. I'm missing 2. But no, I enjoyed the entire continent, man. I think Australia is beautiful. The people are amazing. New Zealand is not too far from there as well, and an amazing experience as well. But the people, man, it's just, besides the weather and just it being a beautiful place, the people are really awesome, and the people appreciate you, and they're really nice. So I definitely would say if you have the opportunity to visit a place, I would definitely say Australia.
Fun fact, speaking on Australia, is that, United States, New World and Australia have a lot in common. That's where they exiled all the bad criminals and, females and males to these islands that were far away from, UK, Scotland, and, Ireland.
I've heard that.
And so we're all built on that foundation. And so, it's crazy how people learn how to treat each other right, huh?
Mm-hmm. I've learned that too, though. I heard that when I was there. Yeah.
Question number 2. What is one thing you love, but you wish you hated?
Whoa. One thing I love. I wish I hated. One thing I love that I wish I hated. Probably food. Probably food, man. I've been the not so healthy food, probably. I've been in the gym the last few months and taking care of myself and my body, and I say it all the time. It's like, it's so easy to put the weight on and put the pounds on, man. But when it comes time to get yourself healthy and right and in shape, is hell. You know what I mean? And it takes a sweet time, letting go that fat and that, then that weight go, man. So I love it, but I wish I hated unhealthy food.
I'm going to shout out my older sister. She always says a moment on the lips is a lifetime on the hips. But, the reality is I had to learn better food to eat. I spent a lot of time on this season 4 of digging into like veganism and eating the right foods and beyond meat. And I was so blown away that I had a burger that didn't have meat in it, but it tasted better than a burger. And I was like, oh, shit.
Crazy.
So, yeah. Question number 3. I completely understand. Was there a time ever that you bombed something, and would you redo it?
Got a bunch of those. Because on stage, man, anything can happen. On stage, anything can happen.
It's live.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm trying to think. I got one. So, and bomb literally. So we were in Detroit, Michigan, with Trey performing outside festival. My boy brought us some wings, and I ate the wings too close to showtime, which I don't do. I don't eat too close to showtime because I'm playing, I'm performing, I'm moving around, a lot of movement, right? And in the middle of the show, Trey is performing Neighbors Know My Name, and I had to go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom, bro. And I didn't care what was going on. I was going to use the bathroom. Because one thing is not going to happen is it's not going to be on me. So I remember, just saying it. I don't think Trey heard me. And I'm like, yo, I gotta use the bathroom, bro. So, my man, shout out to George, my manager came and got me. And he tried to run me to the trailer because he was outside. He's trying to run me to the trailer. And I'm like, bro, I can't run. I can't run, bro. I can't run. I gotta walk. So we in there. And he's like, yo, hurry up, bro. We gotta go, man. I can hear him trying to end the song. And I was like, bro, you gotta stop talking to me. So that was definitely a moment where live on stage, I had to go, bro. And I had to go and I had to bomb for real, man. And I remember Trey turning around to our keyboard player and like literally cursing him out on stage without the fans noticing. Like, I'm telling you to stop, you ain't stopping. And he's like, like showing, like pointing to the drum set. He looked over at the drum set, was like, oh. And the girls was just telling him like, take your shirt off. He's like, I ain't no stripper. So he turns around and is like, so what y'all say about that shirt? Bruh, funniest moment ever, man. We laughed so hard. And still to this day at that moment of like me bombing literally on stage, mid of a concert. Thousands of people out there, bruh. But I had to go.
Yeah, the neighbors definitely did not know your name that night. But, shout out to Detroit. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Well, I got to tell you, my brother, you survived my awareness segment. Man, you flew past my in-post Q&A. As a reward, let's promote. Let's have the viewers run up. The platform's yours. Whoever you want to shout out, whatever you're trying to do, let it go.
Hey, man, first off, I appreciate you for having me, man. This has definitely been a great and amazing conversation. I pray and hope that, all of the viewers, enjoy this conversation, enjoy this moment that we shared together as brothers. And thank you to anyone that ever supported me, ever supported any record that I produced, any of the artists, because when you support the artists, you support the producers, man. So shout out to the fans around the world that has always shown me love. Maybe those that may have not known that I produced some of their favorite records and, learned today, definitely appreciate you. And just grateful, for my journey and for the path that God has led me on, man. Definitely looking forward to, what's ahead, for me musically and creatively. Sending much love to everybody out there around the world, that's been hit pretty hard by this pandemic. Remain prayerful, remain positive, remain safe, remain healthy, put those masks on, social distance, please. And I appreciate everybody's support, man. So thank you again for having me, man. And much love to my family and my kids and, those that genuinely love me and support me. I appreciate all the love.
Yes, King. Amadeus, brother, if you know my show, it's a little different. It's unique. The viewers knows it's coming, and I'm going to hit you with it. You got any questions for me?
Nah, man, I'm good to go, man. I'm appreciative of, the platform and how you run your platform. And like I said, I feel like it's an amazing interview and just looking forward to, not only you sharing it with the world, but me sharing it with the world as well. So I'm looking forward, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. On that note, I'm going to close out. It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 4. This is my spotlight episode with Super Producer Edition. I want to give a major shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. I wouldn't be able to do incredibly dope shit like, interview Amadeus and this brother letting them jewels drop. He let them diamonds go by the carats of 30 and more. And, they was coming left and right and left down the center. If they didn't hit you with it, well, I can't do nothing about it if you can't drink the water that's provided. On that note, Amadeus, brother, thank you so much again. And boom.
Peace, kings and queens. The King Amadeus, multi-platinum BadBoy, Hitmen Producer, blessed to produce for over 100 artists. Jeezy, Fab, T.I., Keyshia Cole, Trey Songz, to name a few. Trey Songz, music director, tour drummer, Dre's nightclub, resident drummer, motivational speaker, educator, man. We here right now live on Contrast Uncut. Much love to Uncle Snoop and Bobby D. You heard? King Amadeus.
Yeah. This really remind me of some, this really reminds me of some Tribe Called Quest. Hip-hop really taught me to give it all I got left. Wu-Tang taught us how to beat the projects and tell my story over beats and it could be a project. Look, how it all begun, bum, skibbity bum, yeah. Grew up on that Nas, on that L, on that pun. Old soul when I was young, crisscross, make them jump. Battle rapping for respect, my nigga, this ain't what you want. Can I kick it when I'm rhyming? Be a legend through Ebonics, was a sticker boy. Felt like sticky fingers, play that Onyx. Can I live track 8? Feel like Jigga 96, Without a reasonable doubt, the album turned me into this. Shit, we always had dreams of being money making Mitch. Without jewelry on, hit a jail pose, take a flick. Feel like Pac and keep your head up. Biggie shooting juice. Coach is still alive, just let me prove. King, nigga.